Is that okay? I look like I'm doing it in front of a curtain. Well, I kind of am. I am. I actually am. Okay, fine. This is too dark, isn't it? And welcome to my podcast. I'm Naomi and this is NJ Knits, where I talk about my knitting. I'm going to start off today. I've got I'm going to read off a comment from the last video. I've got a non-existent FO, I've got an HO, and I've got a couple of few WIPs and a new cast-on to show you, and then some knitting plans. So let's get going. That was far too organised for me just then, so I had to sort of drift off into nothingness for a moment. Anyway, welcome to Morocco, everyone. We are in Morocco. I was going to try and have that beautiful orange tree in the background, but it's a bit too bright, so you can't see it, even though it's in the shade. It's just quite bright, so can't really see the orange tree. But anyway, we are in Morocco. It's very exciting, and you'll have seen probably some photos of me doing various knitting in various cusbutts, most likely. So welcome. I'm going to start off with reading off a comment from the last video. So the last video, I kind of apologise because it was done in quite a rush. I knew I was leaving, and I knew it was like my last 20 minutes before I had to meet my partner, and then my partner and I were going to be together for the whole time. And it feels to me like a lot of YouTubers do a lot of the YouTubing, podcasting stuff with their partner nearby or in the room, but I guess it's just a function of the fact that I almost never see my partner, so whenever she's around and I'm not working, I just tend to do nothing apart from be around her. Which, yeah, it wouldn't be the case if I was at home all the time. So anyway, the point of that was, I was like, I need to get this out, otherwise it's not going out before I leave, which means I wasn't going to send the... I'm rambling. The point was, it was rushed, and I apologise if anything was not normal. I'm still trying to get the thumbnail the way it normally is. Anyway, nobody probably cares. I always find it funny when people apologise on podcasts. I don't think I've ever felt like I warranted an apology. Not a single time. Any apologies that are ever given, I'm always like, nope, I wasn't needing an apology for that. I'm fine, it's fine. But anyways, never mind. So, from the last video, the comment that made me giggle a bit was from Fliss, and they say, perhaps another foray into knitting pants. Naomi, I have more and more reasons to make sure I catch up from episode 1. I want to know how it went. I will ASAP. Just made me laugh a little bit. Another one to mention is good old Lisa Petite. Hello, Lisa. She answered my question of what the thing is called that you put the drawstring into on a bag. It's called a channel, not a trencher or a truncheon. Although someone else said Jeannie R, I believe would be, says trencher, as in trencherman, he with a hearty appetite. Truncheon, I think, is like a club. So yes, thank you for sorting all of that out. Lovely viewers, very much appreciated. And so here we go. Let me show you well, I can't show you my finished object because it was my beautiful, wonderful, phenomenal Love Number sweater, which I will show here and here and maybe here. I don't know if I can do all of that, we'll see. I finished it just before leaving. I took a few photos. It was really, really, really grey day, so that's a bit sad. But the jumper is just perfection. I really should have brought it with me, but it was quite big and woolly, so I didn't, because woolly things are not quite as necessary here. Although today it was really cold. This morning it was very cold. That's why I'm wearing a woolly hat. I've got my my nice loose, this is my Sky Beanie #1 by Jose.lotta, Josefina and Carlotta, but their Instagram is Jose.lotta. And yeah, it's very, as you can see, it's made with 2 strands of lace weight, knitting for olive compatible cashmere, and I did the size large because I have a big head. And also someone was saying that, can't now remember who it was, but saying that, it might have been Maisie Hill, saying that she's autistic and she finds like things on her head can be like really restricting feeling. And I know that's a thing with clothing as well. So I wonder if that's a thing. But I love this hat for that reason, because it feels like, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything on my head, but it just gives me that little extra bit of warmth. It also helps organise the intense level of mullet that we have currently in action on my head. Just keeps it, you know, a little bit calmer. So let me jump in with my first, actually I'm going to show you a couple whips first. I'm not going to show you the hoe because it's slightly more interesting. So I'm going to show you my good old, what's it called again? Welcome to the Jungle. Folks, I've done like another half row. So last time when you saw me, I had done 1 row of the blues. This time I've done 1 row and a half of the blues. So there's not much to see here, but that's the colours. You can see how very, very low contrast it is, which again was my plan, but the one unfortunate thing about this is that the pattern in this section, it gets quite easy to follow, because it's like you just go, it's quite uniform, the colour work pattern, because it's not this, you know, totally non-uniform thing, right? It's like swirls, so it's like, it's quite, you know, it just goes bigger and then it separates and goes up, you know. So if it was done in a way where I could actually see the different colours, I wouldn't have to continuously count like I do on this. But it's almost harder because I can't see the colours, so I literally just have to count. But it's okay, I've had a break from it and I'm slightly feeling it again. I feel like I haven't really gotten into the groove yet of this colour and this pattern, so I feel like that's why it keeps being so slow, is I need to like put some time into it and like get a groove on. But I think the problem was that I really pushed through on the leopard because I wanted to just like get to that milestone, and I think with this jumper the key is going to be never ever ever pushing through, because I think pushing through just kills the joy, and if you don't have joy on that, that's not going to be getting done. It's only getting done if you're enjoying it, because it is 3mm needles and fingering weight yarn, double knitting, colour work. So yeah, we're just gonna take it slow and just enjoy the joy. If you've not been on here before, this is the Welcome to the Jungle by Pop Knit, and it's a top-down pullover with 3 different colourwork patterns, and it's completely reversible. So this is the front. I also, because I did the other half, last time I said I think I either did something wrong on the front or I was wrong about thinking I'd done something wrong. I can't tell you what the outcome of that was, because I was working on this last night and I literally couldn't see. So I was just like, you know what? It's just whatever's happening is happening. We're not even going to be able to tell in the end. But that's this way around, and that is this way around. The other annoying thing is that the blue, I've got two colours of Arvetta here. It's this colour, which is number 192, and this colour, which is 146. And very low contrast, blue and green. The annoying thing is on the pattern, the colours on the chart, basically the blue is my green. So I just have to remember that it's opposite to what would be easy. And I think that's maybe the key word for all of this pattern. I'm holding it in this Sweaty Betty bag, which I got from someone who I ordered something, a piece of clothing off eBay from. She sent it in that lovely bag and I was like, great. I've done a bit of work on my, if we're on boring whips, here's my lovely, lovely bag made by the Lisa Petite with my stitch markers on it. I took the stitch markers off the truncheon. I'm just calling it a truncheon now because I find that amusing. But it is called a channel. Took them off the channel so it now works very well. Anyways, I'm holding it in this bag. It is my tiresome pouch. I haven't done that much work on it, to be fair. I've done a bit. I might have done no work since we last spoke. It's just one of those projects that's going to be really slow, I think. I'm not that interested in doing it at the moment. And that's fine. It may be because I don't have any fabric, so there's not really a way I could finish it, and I don't have a zipper. So even if I finished it here, it would still be not finished, so I'm a bit like, pfft. I think it's mostly that I'm just more excited about other things I'm doing. So let me show you my hoe. It's very sad we have to drink out of bottled water here, so there's lots of plastic being used. So where is that little hoe? There they are. This is my hoe. It's a bit rumpled from being in the bag. But here it is. So this is, now this is interesting. I think the next time I do this, I like a fish lips kiss heel because it's very easy to memorize, and I like a short row heel because I like the way it looks. However, I do always find it like makes this bit sort of tight, pulls this bit in. And I was watching something about just like adding a wee gusset here and a wee gusset here, just to give the heel more space. And I think I might do that. Not that it would, I don't think it would improve the fit particularly for me. I don't think I have a very wide heel diagonal. But I just think it would look nicer, and I would like that better because it would lie flat as opposed to just like having this little pinch. But maybe that doesn't matter. So this is Universal Yarn, and it's their bamboo pop sock, and the colorway is coral, and it's a self-striping yarn. It's bamboo and cotton and elastic, so it has elastic in it, which is why it's a sock yarn, so that obviously the cotton and the bamboo, which don't have any kind of what's it called, bounce backiness, the elastic gives it that. So there's elastic throughout the yarn, and let me just put it on. I made it quite long because when I'm out here I'm going to be wearing boots a lot of the time. And so I wanted some nice, soft cotton socks. Last time I was working in the desert, I got a load of cotton socks from Decathlon that were long, and they were too tight around my calf, and they like really made it itchy and were very uncomfortable. So I gave those all away when I came back, and I'm making these. I'm really excited about them. They feel amazing. Ooh. Okay, 2 reasons why this is more difficult than usual. 1, The computer is higher than it normally is, and 2, I'm in jeans. So, like, I think the fit is fine on the heel. I don't think it's pulling too much. What do you think? Think a gusset would help? Is it just aesthetically pleasing? It's really hilarious, and only you will find this funny. Only knitters will find it funny. That was my phone. Let's make sure it's not broken. All is well. It's fine. So this is what the yarn looks like. Also, another interesting thing, when you buy it, I was in the middle of telling you something, I will finish the story, but let me just finish the story. Let me stay organised. Sorry. When I was knitting on the second sock, I was knitting on it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm working. They're like, oh, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm working on the heel, and they're like, that looks a lot like a little, like, little lips, like a little fish going like, and I was like, shut up. Do you know what this heel is called? It's called a fish lips kiss heel. And they were like, but I was pretty impressed. I feel like whoever named the fish lips kiss heel should know that story, because these were just non-knitters watching me knit. I was doing this. I was working on the second sock like this, and they were just like, what is that little thing? And I was like, it's the heel. And they're like, it looks like a little mouth, like a little fishy mouth, you know? And I was just like, I can't tell you how funny that is to me. Because heels have funny names, right? Like they've like heel flap and gusset. They thought that was hilarious. And then I told them the eye of the partridge, and they're like, why do the heels all have such funny names? And I was like, yeah, and this one is called the fish lips kiss. And I think the way the stripes work out, it looks even more like a little mouth, like a little kiss. I don't know why I keep making that noise. I apologise if that noise annoys you. So here's the second one. I'm doing them to match. So I love self-striping yarn because you don't have to count. You can just be like, right, when I get to the blue, that's when I start the toe. So this is I've done this on 2mm needles. Here's the yarn. So the yarn comes in a round, and it's not one that has the inside. You can't pull from the inside. It's non-existent. It's only the outside bit that's available. So that's kind of different. And this is what the yarn looks like. So you can see how much stretch it has. I think there's 2 plies to it with a like running thread of elastic in the middle. I'm not entirely sure, but to make it match, where's my little ball? I leave it over there. I mean, I don't know why you would care to see this, but maybe I left it over there. So when I finished this yarn, I started here, and I quite liked finishing the rib at the end of the white when it started on the stripes here, and then I did all the way here, did the heel when it started the stripes of this, and then and that finished quite nicely on the last stripe basically, and then into here, and then I started the toe on the last stripe of this. So I did this on 2mm needles, and I started with 58 stitches because I was like, well, I'm on 2mm needles, and this is very like, it's light fingering. It's definitely fingering, you know, it's definitely sock size. It's not, you know. So I did 58 stitches because that's, you know, a little bit less than most people do, but it was huge, and I decreased out during this first bit of the ribbing, and I thought it might be okay actually, because this is going to go quite high up on my calf, so it might be okay to have a few more on the cast on. And I actually kind of like that, having the cast on edge be like 6 extra stitches and then immediately decreasing those out, so that when you stretch it to its full capacity, the cast on edge is like just as stretchy as like the ribbing itself. It's kind of a cool idea, I guess. It's not the neatest idea. It's definitely like slightly messy looking, especially in ribbing to be casting off, because I would cast off 2 at a time so that the ribbing would stay. But it's definitely not neat. But I used an Italian cast-on, which is kind of my preferred cast-on. I find it to be stretchier, and I just like how it kind of like is neat on the edge. It's not that neat really, but to me it feels neat, I guess. I don't know. It kind of looks a little almost Pico edgy in a weird way, because it just goes up and over. I kind of like that. So I did the same on the other side. I started with 58 and I decreased down to 52. So I decreased 6 stitches almost immediately, like in the first like few rows. And then, so this is 52 stitches. I used 28 stitches for the heel, because that's what I normally use, is 28 stitches, which is 2 stitches more than half, just to make the heel just a little bit longer, but it's still quite small. But again, it's cotton, it's better to be slightly on the small side, and it's very stretchy. And then I did a round toe with a grafted finish, which is my preferred method. I do a round toe where I start with decrease every 5 stitches all the way around, and then I knit 5 rounds, and then decrease every 4 stitches, and then 4 rounds, 3 stitches, 3 rounds, 2 stitches. Usually by then I generally cast off with like 10 or 12 stitches, depending on how it works out and how I'm feeling. And I always end up having to like read my first sock to work out how to do it the same on the second. So it looks like this one was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think this one was 10 stitches that I then grafted. And yeah, I'm really, really excited to have these. I did this sock really quickly, and then I did this sock I finished this bit in like a day, and I could have finished the second bit on the Sunday, but I started working on my other cast on a bit more. So they've slowed down, but they will get finished very soon, and I'm super excited. In order to make them matching, I had to wind off this much yarn to get to the same place. So obviously it repeats about there, and that's when it starts again. And I only got down to there, and I had to wind off. So I finished with the blue and pink stripes, so I finished here, and I had to wind off all of this and all of this to get to this section, which is where I started the second sock. And so you can see here, I'm going to be finished. Once I finish all this blue, that'll be me essentially finished. So there's still quite a lot of this left, and I'm not going to do my special trick of trying to work out how much, but I reckon it might be somewhere near 40 grams. I think this started out as 100 grams. I don't think I have the label saved, but I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this, but I do have part of it, a ball from said knitted pants, and I think I brought it with me. It's in a different colourway, but it's the same yarn. Yes. And I've got a lot of this left, quite a lot. So I don't think they really go together very well. I reckon I'll make some more socks with these, actually. That's what my plan is. So I'll make socks, finish these socks, then make these socks, and then I'll see what I have left and maybe make some crazy pants with it. So that's this, my bamboo pop socks, which I love. I love how they look. I love the stripes of them. When I made the pants, the stripes weren't even at all, because obviously you're constantly changing the width of the thing, and I didn't really love the way the pattern looked, but as like an even sock, I love it. It's great. That's why I always keep the second sock with me wherever I go. I don't know if you do that. Do you do that? Just because otherwise I always end up doing something differently. So it's now time for my new cast on. I'm so excited. I'm using this yarn that I brought with me. I've got loads of it, and I think we should place bets as to how much yarn I'm going to use to finish this project. And I'm going to see who wins. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 balls, 4 balls sitting here. This is BC Garn Alino Cotolin, which is, that's a funny mashup, Cotolin, which is 50% linen, 50% cotton. And it is a DK weight yarn. It is 50 grams, and it is, where is all that? 50 grams, 125 meters. So it's really lovely. It's got a little bit of depth to the colour. There's some variation in the different like types of beige. The colourway, what is the colourway? I think the colourway is 04, beige. So I've got 8 full balls waiting. I'm making the Egwene cardigan, which is so exciting. I've had this on my queue ever since it came out. It's by Fable Knitwear, and on the plane over, I did a sleeve and a half basically. So here's one sleeve, and when I do sleeves, I like to, especially, it's done bottom up, and I wanted to start with the sleeve because I wanted the sleeve to be my gauge swatch. So I did that, and I was happy with my gauge. My gauge is tighter than the pattern gauge, but that's because the pattern is actually worsted weight. I didn't realise that when I bought it and planned to make it with this. It's DK yarn with a mohair to make it worsted, so it's at a more of a worsted gauge. I think it's meant to be 16 stitches per 10 centimeters, and I have 18, I think. So and I've gone down a needle size because I normally knit really loose, but I think I stayed down a needle size because this is quite loose as a fabric, and I didn't want to be a needle size up from this. So I've got a smaller needle size and a smaller, slightly tighter gauge. What that meant was that my sleeve is actually quite tight, to be fair, but it's such a loose fabric that it doesn't feel tight because it just stretches. I can't really get the well, maybe I can. It's not a loose sleeve. Like, once I get it up to where it should be, about here, it's like, you know, it's not drapey. It's definitely like zero ease kind of a situation. Stuck. I've got it on my ChowGoo cable with the needle stoppers. That's just what I generally like to do. So this is about almost half the yarn left, so I almost used like half a ball for each sleeve, and I've got a separate ball for each sleeve just because I don't like having to join yarn, although I probably could have gotten away with just using the same ball and made the whole sleeve with the second half of the ball. But, you know, don't want to risk it. So I've got 2 balls down here, but not really because I've got half a ball each left. And then I cast on the body. So with the sleeves, because I expected to be knitting it, when I cast on, I basically looked at it and was like, this seems quite big for the wrist, and my wrists are pretty small. And I was like, it seems quite loose. So I was going to knit the size small, the second size, and I decided to actually cast on for the extra small, for around the wrists. And then as I was coming up, I was trying it on as I went, which is quite a nice thing that you can do with bottom up. And I was like, I do have small wrists, but I have very large forearms. Like, it's from climbing, but like they're seriously like giant. You can see like it's like a bicep on my arm. Anyways, so small wrists, large forearms. So as I was going along and doing the extra small increases, I was like, nah, we've got to change to the small increases. So I changed from the extra small cast on to doing the small increases. So I ended with, this is going to be fun when I join in the round, I ended with, I don't think it's going to make that much difference, but I ended with a number that was in between the extra small and the small, because I started with less stitches than the small, but I increased the amount of stitches that the small would have. Anyways, we'll work that out when we have to work that out. I think all that's going to matter is that I I cast off the same amount of stitches for the underarm on the body as I did on the sleeve, and then they can graft together and it'll be fine. So I've cast on for the body, and I've done a bit. This cardigan is really cute, and I loved the colour it was done in, and I thought, I have that colour in a DK. This is perfect, and I had no project planned for that linen. I just got it because it was cheap on eBay. I think it was £14 for the whole bag, and that was those 8 balls plus the 2 for the sleeve make 10, plus I've used 2 on the body, so that's 12. I got 12 balls of yarn for like 14, 18 pounds, might have been 22 actually pounds. So that's like right up there in the like yarn cone price range. Very, very affordable. So I got it because I do love linen, and it was cheap and it was a nice neutral, so I got it last year and I'm excited to be using it. So here is the body. It's just a pretty simple cabled cardigan. I cast on for the body for the size small instead of the extra small. I probably should have done the extra small. And I don't really know why, because my gauge is tighter. I mean, that was why I cast on for the small instead of the extra small, was because my gauge was tighter. Normally I would go down a size because my gauge is normally loose. But because my gauge was tighter, I thought I'll go with the size I should go with, not down a size. And I've, put this around my body and it feels like it's going to be quite oversized, which I'm not unhappy about at all. Like this, I wanted this to be a nice loose cardigan, and it is on the in the design quite a nice loose cardigan. It's not like a tight one, but it's like very loose. Like this is on the needle, not just, and it's like bunched up, like that's how bunched up it is. So yeah, it's very, very loose. So yeah, I probably could have done with the small. I don't really know why it's so loose if my gauge is tighter, but I think it's fine. I think it's okay. So my plan is, I've been kind of like dry blocking this. I don't know if that's a thing, but when I block, what I do when I block is I get it wet. I don't really soak it for a long time. I just get it wet. And then once it's like fully wet, I stretch the fabric in one direction. I'll show you on this. I stretch it in one direction, and I usually do widthwise first, but it depends on like if I want it to be wider, I'll do lengthwise first and then widthwise. But usually I don't need it to be wide. I don't know. In this case, I don't want it to be wider. It's already really wide. So I stretch it widthwise first, because then I stretch it out lengthwise. And what that does is it gets like the stitches, and I don't stretch it like as much as it'll stretch, but I stretch it. I'm pretty firm with it. And what that does is it gets the stitches more even. It's really hard to see this. It's quite loose. It's hard to see the stitch pattern with the bright background. Maybe I should do a bit of this. It started out like not so bright, and now it's Now it's very bright. Oh, now it's very dark. Okay, that's better. Sorry, I don't know why I was thinking I would podcast with a window behind me. That was very silly. I thought it was because I thought it wasn't going to be bright and it would be fine. This is much better. So, as I was saying, basically it like evens out the stitches. So I was planning on, I've got to knit 24 centimeters of this, and I was, you know, measuring it as I went, and I thought, actually, maybe let me just pull these cables down a bit so that they're like more like evened out. So I've kind of been doing that as I go, and it's made it a lot longer. So initially I was planning to do 15 repeats of this big cable here before I met for the underarms, and now I'm planning to do only 11 after having done that, because like it's meant to be slightly cropped. I'm probably going to do like a longer version of cropped, so it's not like long but it's not cropped, it's like in between. It's like, my ideal is that on a pair of like, my jeans are all like middling high-waisted, they're not like fully high-waisted, so I wear them like sort of in the middle, not like down low but also not high. So I like it if it's like just a bit over that, which is exactly what my love number is, which I'm so pleased about. So anyway, if I have it like that, the way I like it, just a bit over my jeans, then that's 5. If I do another of those, 10, that gives me to there, and then one more to there. So that's probably pretty good. And then I'll block it to be just a bit longer as well. And I think also because it's cotton, it'll stretch. So anyways, I've been really enjoying this. It's quite a relaxing knit. It's very simple and easy to do, but it is like long rows. 186 stitches on here. So yeah, I'm feeling cast-onitis because this is nice, but it requires you to be not plugged in, because if you are like paying attention to it, it grows slowly. Not slow, but pretty slowly. You know, 186 stitches is a fair amount. So anyway, the game is, let's see, I've just started the second ball of yarn. Well, not just. I'm probably a third of the way through this ball of yarn. So this is about 1.3 balls of yarn, I'm going to estimate. My sleeves have taken up 1 ball of yarn between them, about, give or take. So the game is, how many balls of yarn am I going to be left with as leftovers? Please put your guesses below, and we'll see who wins. Yeah, so I'm really excited about this cardigan. I really want it. There's so many times where I've wanted to just throw on a cardigan, and you kind of have to keep your arms covered here in Morocco because it's a Muslim country, and it's just kind of respectful to not be out and about with, especially because Ramadan's coming, with your legs and your arms out. So a nice linen, light-coloured, long-sleeve cardi will be perfection to wear over, you know, vest tops or singlets. I find that a funny name. Anyway, so that's that. I'm really excited to have it. I'm a little bit like, it's gone into like, I'd rather do it as commuting knitting, or as I'm chatting with people knitting, something where I'm not paying attention to what I'm knitting because it grows so slowly, or walking knitting. But the problem is also my socks are that as well. So, and my socks are really close to being finished. Like, they just need like one dedicated afternoon and they'll be done, basically. So it feels weird, like, always leaving them. So I have a new feature I've decided on, and it's called Stashquisitions. I'm sure someone else has thought of this before, but that's not the point. The point is not that it's original, the point is that I'm doing it. And that is where I'm going to take you through some acquisitions I've got from my stash and the plans I have for them. So, I can't decide with my cast-on-itis which of these things I'm going to do first. Firstly, I have some 50%, this is also 50% wool, 50% bamboo. This is Viking yarn and it's Bjork, and the colorways are, this is 502 and this is 507. So it's like a beigey colour and a sort of whitish colour. See it better back here maybe. I think what I want to make with them is they are, let's see, 50 grams at 147 meters, so fingering, it's like a light decay. Sport weight, they're about sport weight. Yeah, it's 147 meters for 50 grams. I don't know if I have 50 grams of these each because I got them in Norway in a charity shop for 15 krona each. So no idea, just random charity shop wool that I got in the summertime of 2019. So I want to make a scarf number 1, I think, to have a little bandana-y thing that I can put on and like pull my hair up away from my neck or away from my face in the heat when we're working outside. So I don't know if I'm going to cast this on because that's a nice satisfying project. I think that's just what I need. I just need, because for me socks aren't that satisfying thing because they're just a thing that's just always going in the background. And once you finish them, you just start some other ones. So it's not like, wee, I have it now. Although it kind of will be these ones because I'm excited for them. But this will be like a really satisfying thing because it'll go quickly, I imagine. But also, this is my little travelling stash. This is a bag again that I got when I ordered something from Lucy and Yak. They give you these very, I'd say they're quite flimsily made, but they're free. And I think they're just made out of scraps from the workshop, which is lovely. I think that's great. And they're great for holding yarn because they are quite large. They're not so great for project bags, even though I'm using one currently. This is another Lucy. I probably buy too much stuff from Lucy and Yak. Showing you my Lucy and Yak habit. Look, they have sales sometimes, yeah? The problem is if you use them as project bags, because as I say, they're just like quite light fabric, you end up with lots of holes made from your needles. I don't know if you can see those. Anyways, I'm sure you can believe me. There's lots of holes in this. And that's okay. There's no need for them to be hole-free. But yeah, they're better for storing yarn than projects because that keeps them from just becoming sieves. I actually have a lot of Stashquisitions, but I'm going to show you the one that I'm very tempted to cast on right now. And one that I also want to cast on, but I don't know what I want to make with it. So that is this. It is lace weight, 750 meters, I think. 700 meters, 113 grams. I got this in Canada, and it's a Canadian company called Ancient Yarns, and it is a silk and linen blend. It's hand dyed in Canada, but the wool is spun, I think, and sourced in Italy. So it is, the colorway is French lilac, and I got it for $15, down from $42. So I got it for quite a steal in the sidewalk sale at Stash Yarns in Calgary. And I basically got it with ranunculus in mind. I would love to make a ranunculus with this. I think there was a lot of lilac going on in the knitting world at the time, and I think I was very much influenced. And I'm a sucker for silk. I love it. So I'm wondering if I can make a long sleeve ranunculus with this, with 700 meters of this. I would be very happy if I could. And that's kind of what I want to cast on. I've made 2 ranunculuses and they've both been gifts, so I haven't gotten to keep one. Granted, the first one I made for myself and didn't like and gave away because it was the wrong size. And the second one I made for a friend and I loved it, but I gave it away because I purposely made it for a friend. So that's what I want to make with this. I'm sort of tempted to try some other ranunculus-like patterns, but then at the same time I'm just like, or I could just make a ranunculus. And then the second one that I have, that's kind of like the skein is kind of falling apart here. Oops. Oh, it is very much falling apart. Oh no. That's not even like yarn vomit, that's from the outside. Let me tell you, this is the softest, most luxurious yarn. It's 50% wool and 50% silk, and it is 730 meters, and it is also a lace weight. It's extra fine merino with mulberry silk, and it's from Juniper Moon Farms, and the colour is Gold West, and I'm obsessed with this colour. It's a very deserty colour. It's like, it's Gold West. It's like golds and beiges, and it's just lovely. It's really, really lovely. And it's so soft. And I think I'd really like, I originally thought, oh, maybe I can make a ranunculus with this. But I think it would be better as something simpler, just like a really simple long sleeve top. Just like, very simple. But obviously like a loose gauge, something really lightweight. I don't know, it could maybe even be like a cherry, but done with different sleeves than the puffy ones, maybe done with longer sleeves. I don't know, like simple pattern ideas for this would be much appreciated, because I would love to make something just light and simple and easy, because I have like the cherry, which is my lightweight jumper, and I love it. I love it. It's so light, it's easy to put on, it always looks fabulous, and I'd love another really lightweight long sleeve jumpery thing. So the ranunculus is one, and that's linen and silk, so it'll be cooler than this, which is wool and silk. But this is so soft. Oh. But I don't think I'd want to add too loose of a gauge, and this is only 700 meters, so I don't know. I'd want to add a loose gauge, obviously, because you can't make it if it's not at a loose gauge, but although I suppose socks would be lovely with this, but I'd love a top if I could. If I could, please. I don't think it would have to be oversized. I think it could be a little bit more fitted. I don't know. So that's a couple of my Stashquisitions, and I still haven't cast on my sparkly socks, but I will do. Probably when I finish these socks that I have on the needles now, I'll cast on these little sparkly socks, which I'm excited for. So yeah, I keep on having this sort of cast on itis, and then I keep on being like, I'll just work on what I already have. It's almost like I'm a bit lazy to cast on. So I don't know what's going to happen. But yeah, I'll show you some more Stashquisitions next time, because that's certainly not all the yarn I brought. But those are the things I'm planning to start working with in the near future. Yeah, I think that's all. Even though I'm on holiday, I've got 2 languishing WIPs, more or less languishing, and then I've got 2 active WIPs, so I think I need one more active WIP. Anyways, I hope you're doing well, and I'm sending you out some companionship and some hugs, and I hope to see you next time. Please do, if you want to make my day, leave a comment and share so that more people can watch the podcast, but or not. Anyways, yeah, please do leave a comment if you feel like it, because I love reading them and I love replying to them. And knit fearlessly on, and don't be obstructed by perfection. I don't know why I'm still rambling. I'm one of those people, on the phone when you're like, okay, bye mum, bye. Okay, bye. What did you ever do about the and you're like, oh, yeah, well, I did this and that and the other thing. Okay, well, all right, bye. Because I was just wondering about that, because I'm totally that. My mum's that. I'm becoming that. That's how it is. So I'm doing that on the podcast. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Can I think of anything else to say? No, bye. No, I'm still talking. Bye. Okay, I've really irritated myself now.